It's a 2-for-1 special today on the McShay Show. We start with all the NFL draft buzz, quarterbacks and otherwise. Then we shift our focus to the college football playoff with our FanDuel picks of the week and special guest Joel Klatt to break down all 4 of the first round games. It's a Thursday, so I'm feeling a rough draft in the air and just 126 days until the NFL draft. Muench, you good?
I'm good, man.
Roll that sweet beat, Tuck. We got a fun one and a full one today, Steve, so buckle up, all right?
Can't wait.
All right, we got draft buzz. We got Joel Klatt. We got FanDuel picks of the week. You and I are going to have a little competition. We'll get into that later today. And
here we go.
I know, but first I want to let everyone know the McShay Report is out. If you don't subscribe, what are you doing? Google it, the McShay Report. Subscribe. The McShay Show is presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got it all. Same game parlays, quick bets for jumping in live, and your way so you can build the bet that fits your play. Plus, don't miss out on holiday offers and surprises all month long. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/McShay to get started. Must be 21 and older and present in select states, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Mensch, I see that little smirk of you.
What are you doing, though?
What are you doing? It's draft season, too. If you weren't involved during this college football season, shame on you. But now it's draft season. Like, I can't help you. Yeah, and we got some exciting things to announce. We're building here. We're growing, we're building, and we're excited about it. And we appreciate all your support on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, on anywhere else you get your podcast. Mensch, tell the folks real quickly, how do you support this show if you want to?
Go find the McShay Show on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you set up the alerts. Please hit the like buttons if you're listening. No one seems to like to take the time to hit the like button. It's pretty easy. You can find us on Apple, wherever you find your podcasts. On Spotify, you're going to find the McShay Show. And again, consider subscribing to the McShay Report. I'm at Muench, Muench, and he's at McShay13 for all the social stuff.
There you go. He's the best in the business for a reason, folks. Let's get into it. Draft buzz. And this is going to be consistent. This is a rough, we're going to do the rough draft portion of today's show first, and then we're going to get to the college football playoff because it's that time of year, and I love that we're jam-packed. The buzz. Just about everything.
I love that I get to react to this. By the way, we do not get on the phone. We do not talk about, hey, I'm going to say this today, man. This is what I heard. I love that I get to hear it with everyone else at the same time.
Well, the first part is a little bit more interactive, not to disappoint you. You're going to have to pull your weight on this.
We'll see. Okay.
And the second part, yes, you might do some reacting. The first part I want to get to, I kind of the list is growing. We've seen it shrink with underclassmen in recent years. The January 14th date is on the calendar, the NFL calendar, excuse me, for underclassmen who need to declare by that date. Those are underclassmen that are still not playing in the college football playoff. And then about a week later, right after the college football playoff, I think it's a few days until that you have, if you've played in the national championship, you have a few days after to get with all your folks, make the decision, and declare or not.
Right.
At that point, they go through the list, they iron it out, they make sure everyone's on board, and it's like a 72-hour period, and then they get it out to all 32 NFL teams. That's when the list becomes official. We'll guide you through every step of the way, okay? But what I'm noticing this year, and I'm not forecasting that it's going to be a bigger group of underclassmen than we've seen the last couple of years with the NIL, incentivizing players to come back to school, the transfer portal, giving opportunity to players who maybe didn't have their best years or things didn't work out or they just don't feel like they're ready to leave for the NFL to maybe transfer to another school where they get a different, maybe better opportunity. But right now I'm seeing a list that keeps growing. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we're headed toward, I don't want to give an exact number, but it used to be in the 90s and some years in the hundreds. And recently it's been like the 50s and 60s, right?
Right.
And I think that's a good thing. I don't like history
I
tells us
agree. Yep.
that younger players leaving for the NFL, the percentages of success in the league dip. And there's a lot of bad information too, coming from a lot of bad agents. Not all agents are bad, but there are a lot of bad agents that are not good at their job and give false information for their own sake. So with all that said, I sent this list to Tucker to create a graphic. These are just the big name guys that you probably, if you're a college football fan, recognize. At first jump, and if you're driving in your car, you're listening and not watching, wherever you're doing that. I'll list through the offensive guys. Jeremiah Leavitt, running back, also a running back, LJ Martin, Notre Dame, BYU, respectively. The third running back that I included in there is Emmett Johnson, a guy who's getting a lot of traction in NFL scouting circles coming out of Nebraska. Then at wide receiver, 4 guys. Jordan Tyson, Arizona State, Antonio Williams, Clemson, Jacoby Lane, USC, Chris Brazel, the second, CB2 from Tennessee, one of my kind of sneaky favorites. Then Caleb Lomu, not Fanu, but Lomu, who we talked about maybe would be better served with another year in college. Head coach Whittingham is moving on, and you wonder if with new program or just the allure of not the deepest class of offensive tackles that he's going to throw his name in the hat, or hat in the ring, I should say, name in the hat. Guess you could do that too, picking out of a hat. Defensive side, edges, 2 of them that are of note right now. Keldrick Falk from Auburn and TJ Parker, Clemson. Interior defensive linemen, 2 as well. Peter Woods from Clemson, Caleb Banks from Florida. Off the ball linebacker, Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas. Then you got 6 defensive backs, 3 cornerbacks, Jermod McCoy, who didn't play this year with the ACL injury from Tennessee, or didn't play much, right?
He didn't play at all, I don't think.
At all. Sorry, I was thinking the other injuries. Avion Terrell from Clemson and Brandon Sissy from South Carolina. And then
it's Cisse. I watched him today, and I looked up his name. It's Cisse.
Cisse.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, Cisse. I thought it was Cisse. Okay. Then it's Jalen Kilgore also from South Carolina, Michael Taft from Texas, and Kamari Ramsey. Those 3 are from at the safety position. Whew. So that was a long list. It gives you a sense that there's a lot of good players coming in from the underclassmen rank. All of those guys are first or second day guys that I mentioned. I'm pretty confident. Okay. Maybe a couple of the running backs go 4th round, which is which is the equivalent for other positions of going on day 2. I should just before people start hitting me up at McShay 13.
That was my immediate reaction to pick on you for that one, but yep.
I'll start with you. Any names jump out, whether it's surprises or intriguing, anything that jumps out to you?
I mean, there's a bunch, to be honest with you, right? I'll start with Jermod McCoy, you mentioned not playing this year. Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle from Florida, only played 3 games. I thought maybe those injury concerns that they might go back. That's something that you don't have any real tape from this year, and you're still going to come out. Both super talented players. Then moving on, you mentioned Caleb Lomu from Utah. I mean, that's obviously going to grab my attention. He's the second offensive tackle on my board. I think he has a chance to be a very early first-round pick, but I agree with you. This is a kid who could have gone back, gotten stronger, refined a little bit more. He's the left tackle, by the way. Spencer Fano, who was my number 1 offensive tackle, is Utah's right tackle. That's something that jumped out to me. I am fascinated with the receiver and corner classes right now. Antonio Williams is someone that I think has flown under the radar. I have not watched a lot of his tape this year because he missed most of the first 3 games, if not all of the first 3 games. But he's a really talented player. I want to go back and watch and see what he's done this year. Jacoby Lane, I was surprised that he came out, but a talented dude who is a big play threat and has flashed at times, been kind of overshadowed by Mekhi Lemon. I mean, that's interesting to me. And then looking at the corners, I got to be honest with you, I don't know what to make of it yet. And I think that's okay because it's the middle of December. I watched Cisse today and felt like I was going to see a guy that was going to really blow me away, and that was not the case. Not that he's not a talented player, and not that I don't think he's going to go early, but I watched every target from this year, and I wasn't seeing a player that I would have told to, like, you're going to be a definitive first round pick and you should come out this year. I just didn't see that. So there's all of that going on.
Cisse you're talking about?
Yeah, I watched him today.
I liked him. I don't think he's. Yeah, go ahead.
One other thing I'll throw out at you, because I believe this happened, and correct me if I'm wrong, with both Cam Ward and Carson Beck, is these guys could still change their mind, right? I mean, didn't Ward and Beck say they were going? Right. So it's something to mention here. Now, I don't know if I've seen it with a position player. That's what we're talking about now. I don't know if that's happened. You know, of course it could have, but it's something to keep an eye on. These guys, this is not set in stone until those deadlines hit. There might be guys who are still, their agents are going to, I know we're talking about going to the draft, but Tennessee just called and they're offering this. So it's kind of a fluid list. This is a great time of year and a terrible time of year because it's overwhelming in terms of all the information you're getting and people declaring, and then you're going to find out people are going to go back, and then we're still doing the college football playoff, and that's something I really want to focus on. All of that stuff is going on, so there's just a lot in terms of information right now.
Yeah, typically it has been the quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, I think so, or at least the most notable.
A couple things stood out to me. I mentioned the first part of it being how long that list was already, and
right.
Who, like, honestly, maybe it is the case where agents of college players are now saying maybe it's a helpful tool to put your name in the ring as an NFL draft prospect. Maybe it will
inflate your value with the team.
Yeah. That's a possibility, although I have not heard that. It's just speculating right now. The other thing is 48 guys already, and that obviously doesn't include any player. And I just went through, and you could probably, I don't know how many were underclassmen, but there are dozens upon dozens of prospects playing for the 12 teams, but mostly the 10 teams that we talked about that are not group of 5 schools. There are dozens upon dozens, and I don't know again how many are underclassmen, but 48 seems like a lot as we sit here on December 17th, when the underclassmen date, the declaration date isn't until January 14th. So are we in for a massive number? We're gonna find out.
Why get it out so early? Are you saying like maybe it will get some other guys to go back if they see?
I honestly,
I don't. What's the mentality there?
Just moving on. Just like, I'm doing it. Let's put our name in there. I'm going off to train. I want clarity on. I don't want to answer questions. I don't want there to be speculation. I've made a decision. Another thing, like from a college perspective, that stands out, Clemson. Like, TJ Parker did not have the year he was expecting. No. He has another year to go back. He chose not to do so.
What's interesting with him, and some of these other players will be see how it plays out, is that the requirements for the Senior Bowl have changed. And I saw that he's accepted an invite to go down to Mobile. So even though he didn't have the year that he wanted to have, he still has that opportunity to go down that week of practice and really show out and do what some other guys have done at that game, which is right the ship and really improve his draft stock. So keep that in mind. Years past, when this list came out, these guys weren't Senior Bowl guys. Now some of these guys can go if they meet certain requirements. Yeah,
and Caleb Banks is another one who's accepted his invite to the Senior Bowl. So I'm not saying anyone's made a bad decision. I'm just saying there are a couple guys, but just looking at Clemson, like specifically, Antonio Williams, Peter Woods, TJ Parker, Avion Terrell, on top of the seniors, that Blake Miller, who's going to be probably a top 50 pick at the offensive tackle position, Cade Klubnik, their quarterback. They're losing a lot from a program that underachieves. So that's interesting just on the college side. Returning to school, the list is a lot smaller, as it always is, because there's not a lot of people who need to come out and declare, and usually it's heavy on the quarterback.
Do you mean re-signing?
Resign, yes, in today's modern age.
I can't get my head wrapped around that one.
I do love some of the names that come out that are returning that you're like, yeah, no, I mean, what Clemson did get one guy, Will Helt, who was the Purdue transfer. He's returning to school next year.
I like that.
There's guys like Quincy Rhodes, the edge from Arkansas is returning. But the vast majority, Bear Alexander going back to Oregon, he had a really good year.
Yeah, that caught my attention. I thought he might come out.
But they pay well at Oregon. Phil Knight helps. But all of that said, I think the biggest news coming out are some of the quarterbacks returning.
Yep.
Now, one on the fence that's fascinating to me. He has made Brandon Sorsby from Cincinnati, who was red hot for a long period of time. And then things started to come off the rails towards the end of the year. Some interceptions, some poor play, inconsistent play, I should say, but has NFL talent. He needs another year. Now he's come out and said, I'm exploring the NFL draft. You know, he's put his name into the advisory committee. But in the meantime, thanks Cincinnati for all the time and the effort. But I'm going to put my name in the portal unless I get back a grade, maybe first or second round from the NFL draft advisory committee. And I'll remind everyone every time we bring it up with the advisory committee, it's a group that was put together. I think it could be a very helpful group. You're allowed, is it 3 or 5 per college to put names in to the advisory committee? They have people who are qualified, that they deem qualified, with scouting backgrounds to evaluate their tape, talk to people, get a sense of where they would be drafted. And then they send back a report to those players that put their name in. And you get one of 3 answers: first round, second round, or return to school. And that helps advise a lot of these young players who may be getting information, because I get news for you. There are about 210 first-round draft picks if you ask all the agents that people talk to every year.
True. It's so true.
So there's all that. But I find it interesting that Sorsby did the kind of hedge the bet. Like, if I come back, it ain't going to be at Cincinnati, even though we were on a run and things looked good, and it looked like we might be even making the college football playoff at one point. So he's one to keep an eye on that has not officially decided whether he's in or out on the NFL draft. The guys who are returning that have made it official: Arch Manning, as we well know, Lenora Sellers, South Carolina. Both guys are projected first rounders in 2027. Sam Leavitt, not returning, and also not returning to Arizona State. Lenora Sellers is returning to South Carolina. So as I talk to people, the Leavitt news isn't surprising. As I talk to people, the Sellers news went from surprising to, they've put some parameters in and are taking care of him in a way that makes him feel comfortable coming back. Also, Jaden Maiava returning to USC, which he should be. Aiden Chiles returning, but in the transfer portal, quite honestly, as he should be. And no disrespect to Pat Fitzgerald, but that's going to be a multi-year reclamation project. Chiles has an opportunity to go play with a lot more talent. And there's a lot of other players in the transfer portal. We're not here for that today. What I'm here for is that those quarterbacks, Muench, anything that stands out to you about the ones that are returning?
Good moves. I mean, just good, the right moves. Like, I just
Nothing
feel like
surprising, right?
Down. Well, I will say that I wouldn't say nothing surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them came out, because that's just the world we live in. I'm just happy. I guess I wouldn't say surprised, not surprised. That's not really my reaction. It's just, this is smart. I'm glad you guys are doing it. I was a little surprised that Leavitt left Arizona State. That's a college football discussion we'll have at some other point. We're doing draft now. So there was nothing really there that shocked me. But I think everyone wants to know the two big names, which are going to be Oregon's Dante Moore and Alabama's Ty Simpson, which we don't have. They have not officially said anything, right?
There's urgency in this, man. Let's just get to it. There's urgency. There's unique qualities to both of these situations. Dante Moore at Oregon and Ty Simpson at Alabama. The first thing that everyone has to realize is next year's class is sensational. And we said this year's class had a chance to be, and it turned out where it's not. Right now, when you look at the landscape, okay? And next year's class, we just talked about Arch, Sellers, Maiava, Sam Leavitt, right? All those guys.
Lagway will be
Aiden Chiles.
potential.
Lagway, if he gets with the right place and is developed properly. That's not to mention even Julian Sayin.
Right.
Right. And there's a handful of others as well that are all going to be, if not first round, first couple rounds, you know. It's shaping up to be potentially one of the greatest quarterback classes in the history of the NFL draft, certainly in my tenure here. And we just had a record-breaking draft class with 6 drafted in the top 12, including Caleb Williams, who's come on strong, Jaden Daniels, who's taken a step back with injuries, but Drake May, who continues to ascend to almost MVP level. And then beyond that, J.J. McCarthy, let's see how that plays out. Michael Penix with the injury this year. And Bo Nix is, by the way, quarterbacking, whether you love him or you don't, a team that is number 1 seed in the AFC with 2 losses, okay? But here's the landscape, just so people understand. Next year, you've got all those quarterbacks you're competing against. This year, you have, if the draft was held today, the New York Giants are picking at 1. And boy, do you want to have the number 1 overall pick this year. If you'd love to, if you need a quarterback.
Right.
Honestly, this is a rare year where I would say you'd actually want it more if you're a team that doesn't need a quarterback. The Giants would be picking at 1 right now, and I want you to hear me loud and clear when I say this. If the Giants were to finish, and the percentages aren't good, or if Tennessee were to finish with the number 1 overall pick, anyone but the Raiders, who desperately need a quarterback now that the Geno Smith thing did not work out and they're going to gut that whole thing. Think about what you could have from a team. And if it's just Fernando Mendoza in the first round, you've got the Raiders sitting at 2, Cleveland sitting at 4. That's if the draft was held today. The Jets sitting at 5. And then the Rams with that Atlanta traded pick sitting at 10. That's 4 in the top 10, which is actually less than normal. But 3 of those 4, Steve, have multiple first-round picks. And as we're doing this show, Mekhi Lemon just officially declared for the NFL draft. Welcome to the show. That was to be expected. But follow me here. 3 of those 4, Cleveland, the Jets, and the Rams have multiple first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the Rams are more likely to try to maneuver, get out of that 10th pick if anyone wants to move up and try to get a pick for 2027, because Matthew Stafford's, I don't want to call it a renaissance, but like Matthew Stafford's ability to play at an MVP level right now says to me, Les Snead, as the general manager, oh, we can push this back a year if it works out. But one of those teams will be willing. And yeah, the Jets have multiple first rounders next year, but if they love Mendoza and there's not another quarterback in the mix in the first round, which we could be staring at, I would say it's around 50-50 chance. Someone's going to pay a ransom to get that number 1 pick, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So
yes.
So that's a backdrop to keep in mind. The other part, if you're Dante Moore and Ty Simpson specifically, Moore's season went like this, rocket ship. Then lulled in the middle, and then has taken back off. Simpson was rocket ship, including 4 straight wins in the SEC or against ranked opponents. And then all of a sudden, no run game. Where's Ryan Williams, my star receiver? What's going on? And I'm starting to press. And I've been sacked 26 times or something like that. I'm holding on the ball too long. I'm feeling the pressure. I'm ball security inside the pocket, 5 straight games with fumbles. So it has been like chipped away at. But now here we are as the first round of the college football playoff begins. And I'm talking to people. And those people are saying, hey, Todd, they legitimately haven't made decisions. Because yes, they'll say all the right things. They're focused on what's happening. But just like Drew Aller a year ago, And unfortunately for Aller, he probably made the wrong decision and should have just left for the NFL draft. And maybe he's a second round pick a year ago, which would have been no offense, a big mistake. But there were enough people in the scouting community, including one of the lists in the preseason that are contracted out by NFL teams, where they had a first round grade on him. But we talked about it prior to the college football playoff last year. Hey, what if Aller plays great?
Right. It goes on this run.
What if he makes a run? And what if he's like dealing? Could he? And then, yeah, they won a game, but he didn't, it wasn't anything where, and he winds up coming back to school and all the other players came back and the season didn't go the way they wanted. So when you're Moore and you're Simpson, you kind of keep that in mind. But then it's hey, let's see how this thing goes. Because if I put 2 or 3 tapes out there that are awesome, and I'm playing my best ball at the end here, and now I've got, instead of for Simpson, he has 13 starts. What if he winds up with 16 now? And his last 3 were great, and they get Jam Morris back, and they get a run game to balance things out, and Ryan Williams shows back up.
Jam Miller. We cannot get his name right, but go ahead.
I knew, as I said,
I didn't want to break up your momentum, but I had to.
Bam Morris, Bam Miller,
Bam Morris, Jam Morris, yeah,
Jam Miller, unbelievable.
He's a dude, by the way. I love the way he runs. Like it's just.
But it's Maui Noah. But it's Maui Noah, the offensive tackle from Miami.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Fool me 9 times, you won't get me a 10th. All right, but my point is, in talking to people who have information on this, neither one has made a decision. There's some leaning, according to what I'm hearing, okay? Let's go to more specifically. This was a non-issue, an absolute non-issue. And I want to remind people that Dante Moore is 20 years old. I believe he turns 21 later this month in December. We can look that up. But he's 20 years old at the moment. He's just a pup. He's started, 12 games this year. They didn't play in the championship. So 12 games plus the 5. He has 17 starts. He's mature, truly, beyond his years. He turns 21 in May. Yeah, that's right. It was right after the draft. That's what it was. So he turns 21 in May. When he's drafted, he'll be 20 years old if he leaves early. You can go back and you can play another 13, 14, 15 next year. And now you're in that 30 range where all the top quarterbacks, almost all the top quarterbacks, we talked about only like 2 or 3 quarterbacks that you would consider in the top 15 in the NFL had fewer than 30, 33 starts or something like that. But even those guys had like 26, 23, 26. So history has shown us the failure rate for guys who have 17 starts, somewhere in that range, under fewer than 20 starts, is significant enough to make a mature young man who is getting paid Phil Knight money to say, you know what? Yes, I'll lose out on getting 1 year closer to the second contract where guys are making 40 whatever million a year at the quarterback position. But what if I don't get to that second contract in the NFL as a good starting quarterback in the league? What if I Trubisky it?
Yeah.
What if, you know what I mean? And what if because I wasn't ready by the time that second contract comes up, I'm no more than a backup? Like we've got Mark Sanchez, we've got Trubisky, we've got Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
All of them under 20 starts. Didn't sustain it, So he's got good people, from what I'm told, in his corner, and he's a mature young man. I keep getting told this, like he's not rushed. He is not in a rush. But then his offensive coordinator leaves, Will Stein, who has been key in his development. Okay. And so I did some digging on this. He has a very close relationship with Stein. It's understanding. There's understanding why he left. Happy for him. No ill will. Will miss him terribly. There's been some reports of maybe he goes to Kentucky with him. No, it's not happening. And it's not about money. It's not about fear of playing in the SEC, as some SEC folks would like to think. It's about, why am I going to go take a risk in the SEC with a program that does not yet, maybe it will, but it can't keep up talent-wise with everybody else in that conference, just about everybody else in that conference, especially now that Vanderbilt's starting to roll. And then the new offensive coordinator who was hired within, who was a co-offensive coordinator, promoted when Will Stein departed. And now he's the guy. He's the in-house promotion. It's Drew Meringer. There's familiarity, the continuity. From what I hear, a nod from Dante Moore that works. Don't want a lot of change if I'm coming back. So all these factors are in play. And meanwhile, Oregon's getting ready to play JMU and then try to advance in the college football playoff. But a decision has not been made. Ty Simpson, look up the 5-star recruit. I wrote down his name and I only have Russell, but find out what his name is, please, for me, for Alabama. Ty Simpson, compare this to Moore, who also has not made a decision. Here's what Ty Simpson's up against. Fewer starts than Dante Moore. Didn't finish the season strong. Keelan Russell, thank you. Didn't finish the season strong, okay? Head coach, where there just seems to be too much buzz and speculation in Michigan. And
I'm glad you're getting to it, man.
Okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of smoke right now with that program.
They're in the college football playoff, and there's still smoke. Coming off that game in the SEC championship, coming off of a 4 or 5 game stretch where you could see the decline and the wear on Ty Simpson. People remember I talked to you about Brian Kelly, and I said I have close relationships at places, and I'm not coming and reporting anything, but there's an underswell of some stuff going on where if we hit a tipping point, that it could be like that. Then there's also the fact that is DeBoer as happy as he thought he might be being the head coach at Alabama? So now you're Ty Simpson. And Ty, who's not 20 years old, Ty is 23 years old. He's the one who turns 23 next month, later this month, I think it is. He'll be 24. Now that quarterbacks nowadays, they play forever, right? I mean, look at Grandpa Rivers, right?
Unbelievable story.
Yes. But my point is, it's not like you're a running back or a corner or a wide receiver is going to lose your legs. Like quarterbacks can play a longer time. So it's not like, oh, he's 23. That means he'll be 24 when he's in the draft in 2027. That doesn't factor in hugely. But I'm giving you the information I'm getting. It's something that's being thought about. But more so, it's the stability or lack thereof, what's going on at Alabama. If I do come back, is it going to be is it the same coaching staff? And if it is, or if it isn't, is there a chance that this
Russell
Keelan Russell?
Yep.
Winds up being the guy that everyone wants, even if I'm the starter, if the second I make. So like that, and I'm not saying he's saying that, but there's an element of, what am I even coming back to? There's an element of, do I just transfer if I decide not to go? Which is wild.
It's
Heisman front runner just 6 weeks ago. These are the things that I'm hearing.
It's new college football,
fucking crazy world that we're in right now.
It's creating very interesting dynamics of, like, these relationship dynamics are fascinating to me because, like, look at Lanning. You're getting ready to make a playoff run. You're getting ready for the portal. You're getting, like, all this stuff is going on, and then your coordinator's leaving. Both your coordinators leaving. So you're dealing with multiple players, by the way. Dante Moore is obviously the most important, I would say. But there's other players who, their coordinators leaving and they're looking at maybe leaving. All this stuff is going on. And you got to manage all that. You got to go to Dante Moore and say, we have a plan. This is why you should be here. This is why you should stay. This is why you can continue to develop here. I mean, again, to go back to the conversation that we had with Jake Rosenberg from the athlete group, it is a different world. You need help here. As a head coach, you need help here. And I keep thinking about that conversation because it keeps popping up. And it's when you start to think about what a head coach has to do if you're a championship contender with dealing with coordinators leaving, dealing with players deciding between the draft, or dealing with the portal. These guys have to make decisions before I even think that, like, it's crazy. It's just a different world now.
Here's what I know with both of these guys. They're both super talented. They both can play in the NFL. I've been asked what my opinion is by some people that might be around these situations, if I'm being honest. Both of them, my advice, go back to school, wherever that is. Go back to school for another year. Because at the end of the day, there's trends, there's analysis, there's experience in this profession. And I promise you, Dante and Ty, I promise you, while you can leave now and can go on and have an unbelievably successful career, the odds of you having that unbelievably successful career that you want to have in the NFL and you'll strive and you'll work your ass off for every single day increases if you go back to school next year. I promise you.
I 100% agree. I don't even think it's an opinion. I think it's the data. It's not. The proof is in the pudding. I will say this, and I'll just come out and say it. I like both of these quarterbacks. I think you're right. Both can be successful at the NFL. Dante Moore has a much better chance if he comes out this year than if Ty Simpson comes out this year. He's got some things that he's got to go back. Like Dante Moore has some more tools. He's a more attractive candidate for a quarterback.
I don't disagree, and I love Ty Simpson.
I do too.
Love Ty Simpson.
But I'm looking at that situation, and I'm looking at all that smoke, and I'm like, I could see how this could lead to someone making a bad decision. I hope that's not the case. Even if it does mean transferring. Even if it does.
That's my point in all this. Because of DeBoer and Alabama and this 5-star and things are unsettled in Tuscaloosa, and because of Will Stein and leaving to Kentucky, and I'm only 20, but I'm playing, and then because of the most important factor in all of this, don't forget, is what I started off with. There's 4 teams in the top 10, 3 of which have multiple first-round picks that are desperately looking for their future quarterback. Mm-hmm. And there's currently 1. And he's not even officially declared, but he will be after this college football playoff, whenever that is for Indiana, in Fernando Mendoza, who is a clear-cut, no questions about it, first-round pick. Supply, demand.
Agree.
And the supply in a year we thought was going to be really good turns out kind of sucks. And so now if I'm Ty, and I know deep down in my heart I'm a coach's kid, I'm smart, I get all this information. I've studied this my whole life. I worked to be, but also was destined to put myself in a situation like this. I know what the right information is. I know that if I go back to school for another year and keep getting better, I get a better chance of succeeding in the NFL. But if I come back to school, is it at Alabama? If it is it tumultuous? Who's the head coach? Am I fighting off this 5-star? Every time I throw a pick, is everyone screaming Russell in the stadium? Put in Russell? And I don't even think that's factoring in, but it's like, what's more stable for me? And then if I do come back and try to play, am I better off playing somewhere else? And then for more, it's, again, very mature beyond 20 years old. And I keep getting told that. Like, don't, just because one's 23 turning 24 and one's 20 turning 21, don't get it twisted. These guys are both super mature, smart young men who have all this information, Todd. They know what the right decision is. But there ain't no way the Raiders, the Browns, the Jets, and the Rams in the top 10 picks. We're done with those. We get to pick 11. And you and I are sitting there in the LA studios ranting and raving about who's on the board at number 11. And if whether it's Moore or Simpson, if they're on, that they would be still on the board if they're in that draft class, in this upcoming draft class.
I agree.
It's fascinating. And by the way, as we prepare for the college football playoff starting on Friday with Alabama and Oklahoma, with Ty Simpson as the starting quarterback of Alabama going up against John Mateer for Oklahoma. There's a lot on the line, man.
Yeah. It's the high stakes football, man. Especially
There's a lot on the line.
Again, it's a draft show, but I mean,
there's a lot on the line for Alabama, and we're going to transition now.
Yes, for the program.
For the like DeBoer wins at Norman. They go on even a couple game run. It's like, oh, everything's good here. Come on back, Ty. Let's go. They go out and they play like they played against Georgia in the SEC championship game. I'm telling you, it's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be some soft landing spot where, on to next year. And that's going to add to the drama. And by the way, then we're like the 20th of December, and the declaration date's on the 14th, and it's like, I don't know, I can't remember. It's just different. It's just different. But those two young men have a lot of pressure on them and they're focused, and they're not thinking about any of this stuff. We're doing the thinking, and the people around them are doing the thinking for them right now. And when it comes to this stuff, so that when they're done with their job and their singular purpose, they can make an educated decision. But a whole lot of stuff is going to be at stake, starting with that first game on Friday night, Oklahoma, Alabama. I had some fascinating calls, man. I had some fascinating calls.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a good place to transition. Let's run through these four games real quickly. We have Joel Klatt coming up, and as I mentioned off the top, we get so caught up in the buzz. I probably should have promoted it more. Doesn't matter. He's going to be here, and everyone's going to get to see one of the preeminent college football analysts out there. He's covered, a bunch of these teams playing in the college football playoff and knows the game, as well as anyone out there when it comes to college football and what we're about to see and enter into in the college football playoff. So we're excited to talk to him. But before we do that, a couple things I want to knock out, okay? First off, I literally on a whim, I was like, I love competing. Let's compete. We got 4 games.
I know, and you had to go there. Go ahead.
I know, and I texted you like 5 minutes before the show. 4 games. We got 4 games this weekend. One on Friday, as I mentioned, Alabama, Oklahoma. I'm pulling on my FanDuel app. I'm not like taking texts. Here's my FanDuel app.
It's so easy to get there, by the way. It's so easy. I mean, it took me 3 minutes to find everything I needed.
Download the app and get involved.
Maybe not even.
All right. So Alabama, Oklahoma. So the contest that I want to do, and Tucker, Dan, behind the scenes, keep tabs on this. We're going to pick every game versus the spread for the college football playoff. Muench versus McShay. You can ride or die with me, or you can ride or die with Muench. Muench has got a better beard. He's nicer. He's a fan favorite, so you're probably going to ride with him. See how that turns out.
Such a backhanded compliment.
Alabama, Oklahoma. The spread is Oklahoma at home as the 8 seed, -1.5. And we don't have to go into deep breakdowns here, but give me who you like in that game. And stop me when we get to the one that is your FanDuel pick of the week. At FD Sportsbook, by the way. And download the app, because they we have a lot of great people, and we'll get to more of them here on the show, that are and a lot of great organizations that are keeping us rolling, and something that everyone here is getting behind, and we appreciate it. But FanDuel has been the best partner, like from the jump, man, and we appreciate it. But I also just love their app. Yeah,
it's great.
Alabama, Oklahoma, -1.5. Oklahoma. Who you got?
I got Oklahoma. I think it's really tough to beat a great team twice, and I think Alabama is a really good team. But it's for the very reasons we just talked about. That program, I don't know what's going on there. There's a little too much uncertainty for me, and I think this should be a very close game. I like Oklahoma at home because they're at home, and I also like because of the uncertainty with what's going on in Alabama.
I went back and looked. They had like twice as many first downs Alabama did. They had the ball for 10 more minutes than Oklahoma did.
I hear you.
They had nearly twice as much offensive production as Oklahoma did. And yet, for everything you just said, I'm taking Oklahoma too.
Yeah, man.
There's going to be no blood on this one. Norman, night game. We saw that Michigan game earlier in the year. You add all the stuff going on in Tuscaloosa. And honestly, part of me is like, is this a sucker play? Because Alabama clearly knew it was in the college football playoff without that SEC championship.
We're going to see a different Alabama team. Yep.
I promise you that. What I don't know is, are we going to see Ryan Williams?
Right.
Because there is no run game, even if Jam Miller is back at 100%, which it doesn't sound like he will be, and there's questions whether he'll play or not. I do think he'll wind up playing. And we know Josh Cuevas is back. He was at practice the other day doing limited stuff, but he's tracking, and they say he's making great
talented
progress.
Tight end, yep.
A lot of those guys, what was it, 14 guys sat out the SEC championship game, I think it was, for Alabama. Won't be the case here. Maybe just 2 or 3, 4 at the most. And I don't even know that it'll be that number. Am I also ridiculous to think they didn't play in the SEC championship game? You've got almost 3 weeks for Mateer to do you know that in 7 games since returning from the Texas game, John Mateer's thrown 4 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions?
I know, man. I know. Don't try to talk me out of it. I looked at all of it.
I'm actually not. I'm saying I'm wondering if a few weeks to like maybe there was a resting period, maybe there was a little rehab period, maybe there
can't
was
hurt.
It can't hurt. It
cannot hurt.
So that's that. All right, next game. Miami, Texas A&M. A&M is -3.5 at home as the 7 seed versus 10 seed Miami. Miami from the lowly ACC. Miami with Carson Beck, some retread quarterback. Miami doesn't belong. Texas A&M, they are put in a position to make a run in this thing because they shouldn't have been seated that low, so the committee took care of them. They're playing in Arlington, Texas if they win this game at home. Basically 2 home games to get to the semifinals. Who you got?
I got Miami. They break Texas A&M's hearts. You do too, right?
Yes.
I just think I'm going with for me, this is the safe investment. I love A&M. I've talked about them all year. They're just too volatile. I just don't know. I can't trust them. I cannot trust them. And when I'm competing against you, I need someone I can trust in the situation. And as crazy as this is to think about, by the way, because Miami, really, we trusted Miami. I just feel like I can trust Beck a little bit more than Reed. I'm going Miami. I even like the money line here. Like I know we're going the spreads, but I like Miami to just win this game.
Plus 140 if you want to get involved. You know what else you can get involved in? I actually think Miami could win 2 games in a row in this college football playoff. I know it sounds crazy.
Interesting.
I know it sounds crazy. I think they're talented enough on the defensive side. They're getting C.J. Daniels back at wide receiver. And he had 2 catches in the last regular season game against Pitt, but he was a big time factor. In his absence have been a couple other guys who have stepped up. The experience thing, I know you and Stanford Steve have been busting my stones all week. I'll remind you and I'll read you the numbers again, Stanford Steve. 2,881 snaps. Carson Beck's the most experienced quarterback in the dance.
I love you. This is so on brand for you. Did you Miami? Do you have Miami winning in the second round in your bracket?
Yes.
No, you don't.
I swear.
I
swear. Yes, I turned it in the other day.
Wow.
Plus 700 it was when I made this declaration the other day. You weren't there. It was an ad read for FanDuel. Plus 700 in my FanDuel ad read the other day. They say, all right, Steve, we're done with the show. You can go. I sit back and I do an ad read. I dropped in this nugget. All of a sudden that thing goes out. And now I asked Bill Simmons the other day what it was. And he says, plus 650. It's gone down. Moving lines. But I'm telling you, if you got a little scratch, I think Miami could be
I can't believe it. I can't believe you did it. Good for you.
That's
usually your move is, you watch out for this, and then you go chalk when you have to put your money where your mouth is.
I just love how you and Stanford Steve are always busting me midweek on our text thread, and then Signetti goes and coaches the best coaching job of anyone. Okay.
All right.
Tulane, Ole Miss. Who you got? Tulane at Ole Miss, rematch of a 45-10 game, I believe is the final. Tulane is ranked 20. I was given the rankings. This should be the seeds. Ole Miss is the 6th seed. And Ole Miss is favored by 17.5.
Yeah, I got them to cover. I think they're pissed off. I think they got something to prove in this game, and they're a far more talented team. I don't think it was a fluke. I got my eye on this, and something I want to ask Joel about too is these coaching changes and how they're going to affect teams. I mean, Tulane and JMU is one thing, but Oregon losing both coordinators, that's something I got in my eye. But again, Tulane's losing their head coach. He's going somewhere else. It's hard to be in two places at the same time. I think as much as these guys are trying to do it, I just don't see there's no formula here for me for Tulane to make this a tight game. I think Ole Miss comes out and just blows the doors off of Tulane to prove a point.
I actually agree too. This is the worst segment in the history of shows.
Well, unless you got
JMU ranked 24th, coming as
Dukes.
the 12 seed. Oregon 5 seed. Oregon at home, 21.5-point favorite. Who you got?
I'm terrified that JMU is going to somehow backdoor cover this, but I got Oregon. I think Oregon covers here too.
I got you on one.
You do, huh?
I got you on one. And you know what? This is my FanDuel pick of the week.
Here we go. My Ole Miss covering is my FanDuel pick of the week. And I don't usually like to go with that big of a spread for the pick of the week, but I really like Ole Miss in that game.
Okay, so Ole Miss is your FanDuel pick of the week, minus 17.5 over Tulane.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I agree with you on that one. Where we disagree is JMU, Oregon. You've got Oregon minus 21.5, and I'm dropping the FanDuel pick of the week right on your face, Muench.
I'm very uncomfortable with how you worded that.
I think Bob Chesney's a man of honor. I think Bob Chesney's trying to show the world. I don't think that they've got a passing game that's going to keep up. But I do think with their run game, with their defense, they're going to slow this thing down. They're going to frustrate Oregon maybe by 16, 17, but they're not. They're not getting to 22. They're not beating by 22.
With that backdoor cover. I like Oregon to cover. I still do it.
So those are our FanDuel picks of the week. All right. As promised, we'll get some real analysis on this show.
Yeah.
He's a real pro, as McDonough used to recite to me. Joel Klatt is coming up, and we're excited to talk to him, and we'll cover all 4 of those games. But now there's only one play on that board that I can get an edge on you, and it's my FanDuel pick of the week. So it turns out okay, but hopefully in round 2 we'll have a lot more disagreement.
Be a little more interesting.
But here we go with Joel Klatt. The McShay Show is brought to you by FanDuel. Game day hits different this time of year. The stakes rise, the crowds get louder, and now FanDuel is giving you something extra. That's right. All customers get a profit boost every college football playoff game day. That means more chances to level up your picks and turn big moments into even bigger wins. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/McShay to get your college playoff profit boost today. Must be 21 and older and present in select states, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. This episode is brought to you by Scout Motors. As we get closer to the playoffs, everyone's focused on the future. Who's advancing? Who's not? Scout Motors is focused on the future too. The all-new Scout Terra and Scout Traveler will combine iconic heritage with reimagined engineering and design. With plans for advanced four-wheel drive and optional 35-inch tires, they'll be ready for whatever challenges come next, whether that's winter roads or no roads at all. Join the waitlist at scoutmotors.com. Concept vehicles not available for sale. Features and performance specifications are preliminary and subject to change. Joining the waitlist does not guarantee purchase. Visit scoutmotors.com for more details. There he is, as promised. Mr. Klatt, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, just fending off internet trolls the last few days.
What'd you do now?
Oh, I had a horrendous take about the NCAA basketball tournament. Worded it awful. My whole take is basically, and I still believe this: if your objective is to crown the best team, then the NCAA basketball tournament is not a great structure. It's a bad tournament. It's a great tournament for entertainment and to see which team can actually just win that made-for-TV entertainment event, but it doesn't always give us the best basketball team. And obviously, that's what we're trying to do in the college football playoff, is we're trying to identify who's the best team in college football. So I said it, but I said it with dumber language. I said, like, well, the NCAA basketball tournament's a joke. And it's like, well, of course that's going to be a headline. And everyone's like, well, that's a bad take. And I'm like, yeah. I also prefaced it by saying, hey, this is a bad, hot take. And, people don't seem to want to see that.
No, they only take the part that gets their headline. But
yeah, for sure.
Well, we're glad you're here anyway, and
good to be here.
And we can
talk
move on.
some football.
Let's talk some football. And there's two great matchups, and then two lopsided matchups, and we can get to a little bit of those if we get there. But I'd much rather take your time. Let's start on Friday night, right? Oklahoma, Alabama. All right, Muench, you know what time it is?
What time is it? I'm sure you're gonna tell me.
It's scout time, baby. I'm telling you, I'm getting mentioned that beautiful beard up in New Hampshire in the mountains down to the coast in a scout, right? So now it's time for today's big game breakdown, brought to you by Scout Motors. Love this new partnership we have with them, and love the fact that we're going to push so hard with Tucker that he's going to find a way to get us up near the top of that list to get inside one of these beauties. And just like these breakdowns we're doing, Scout Motors is looking forward to. Iconic in the 70s, reimagined for tomorrow, with plans for locking differentials, they'll be more than ready for the big leagues. I look at this, I do think one of the great benefits of being a football player, and any athlete, to be honest, is you learn the skill of compartmentalizing, right?
Yeah.
And there can be all sorts of noise and nonsense and different stuff going on outside the building, but through the structure and then through learned experiences, you figure out ways to kind of stay inside that bubble, isolate, push out all the externals, and focus on what you need to do. It feels like in this game, there's a lot of externals with Alabama. Is Ty Simpson staying or going? There's a 5-star recruit coming up. Kalen DeBoer's name's in the Michigan talk now. There's just the way they played against Georgia in the SEC championship game. I guess my question is, what are you expecting to see from this Alabama program where midseason, 4 ranked opponents in the SEC, they were rolling.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking Ty Simpson, Heisman, Alabama national championship. It feels very different right now. Very different.
I agree. I think that players and football in general does a great job of compartmentalizing your entire life, really, and allowing you to kind of leave things outside of the lines where they are, and inside of the lines focus on what you're doing. Also, the structure of just how you prepare for football games. Hey, listen, I study base downs on this day. I study third down on this day, and the practice, the regiment of football can get your mind off of distractions. However, I would say this. Most coaches will tell you, and I do believe this to be true, that the quickest way to be defeated is to be distracted. Because if your attention isn't fully on that regiment and that structure, then you're not preparing your best. So the question lies in just where are their heads at through the preparation process getting ready for this game. And if it's fully on Oklahoma, then they should be just fine. Now, you bring up this idea or the question of how they're playing now, and it's not great. I'll just be like real candid with you. The last 4 games in particular, Ty Simpson has kind of fallen off of a cliff. He's below 60% completion percentage. They're barely throwing for over 200 yards per game in their last 4. He's got 5 turnovers, only 5 touchdowns, and they've got a cupcake in there in the last 4. Georgia put together a blueprint that everyone's going to look at when they watch the film and say, like, oh, this is how we're going to get after them. Florida State did the same thing. And I was wondering, like, well, how can they look so good in one area of the season and so bad in another? And I think it comes in the idea of the unlocking. It's a Rubik's Cube. A team is a Rubik's Cube, and opposing coaches are trying to unlock the Rubik's Cube. And for a lot of this season, it was hard to unlock, well, how do you attack Alabama from a defensive to their offensive perspective? And that started to be unlocked. One thing we know about Bama, they don't run the football very well.
No.
And they won't be that committed to running the football. So if you're not going to be balanced, then you're going to throw the football a lot. Well, if you throw the football a lot, now we can start zeroing in on your pressures, your protections. How do you protect the quarterback? Where do you slide? What triggers a remike? All these like very nuanced things that as the season goes on, you start to unlock it because you see teams do things to them that hurt them. And then all of a sudden you get a game like Georgia and it's like they don't have a chance. Now, maybe just Georgia's turning into the best team in the country. That could be part of this as well. But I also believe that Bama's got to break out of a funk in the middle of dealing with a bunch of distractions. So I don't love where they're at, just from a playing perspective or from a mentality perspective going into this game.
And then on the flip side, you've got John Mateer, who again, very early in the season, it was, I think he was the Heisman favorite a few weeks into the year.
After that Michigan game, yeah.
The Michigan game. And then it was a close game against Auburn, but he played great down the stretch. And the defense has been the consistent. It's been one of the elite units in all of college football all year. But Mateer with the thumb injury in the Red River game against Texas has just never been the same. And at least you can point to something tangible and say, well, he had thumb surgery in the middle of the season. Of course, the accuracy is going to dip and maybe forcing some things at times. But they go into this game also not running the football very well, although a little bit better down the stretch. But Mateer, I was telling Steve earlier, I looked it up earlier. Since that Texas game, it's been four touchdown passes.
Yeah, that's is wild, isn't it?
7 interceptions in a 7-game stretch for this guy who was like the number one transfer portal, bringing his offensive coordinator, and everything looks so great early on. What are you expecting to see? Maybe a few weeks with the thumb and a little rest and a little rehab, or is this just who Oklahoma is, and this is what John Mateer is going to be until he gets an off season to adjust?
Yeah, you remember last year Curtis Rourke dealt with a very similar hand injury, and I actually did the game that he hurt it in. It was Nebraska at Indiana, and he hurt his hand. He was never the same. Before that, he was throwing the ball so well and so effectively. And after that, it just wasn't quite the same, even though they had a successful season and wound up in the playoff. But certainly that hurt them against Notre Dame when they went on the road. I feel the same way about Mateer. He has not been the same throwing the football, not nearly the same. And I think the accuracy is the one thing that when I watch the tape and I watch his attempts, to me, it just doesn't come out of his hand the same. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
I totally agree.
It's off.
Yeah.
It's not there. So what they've had to do is learn as a team how to win in a different way. And I'll give them a lot of credit for this. And I think you guys will agree. They have found a way to build into wins. Now, there's no program in America that does that better than Iowa over the years, right? They build themselves into success over multiple series by playing great defense, playing great special teams, and getting themselves in a position where they can ultimately get some points. That's what Oklahoma is. Oklahoma right now is a version of Iowa. If they don't get an explosive touchdown or have some sort of turnover to create a short field, they don't score. And give them a lot of credit because they're leaning on 2 elite units. The defense is elite. The special teams is elite. And they're using that to go out and win games. The one thing that I would give them also in this game, and I think it's a massive advantage, and it's something that we haven't had to deal with throughout the history of college football, and now this is something that we're just starting to get to analyze and walk ourselves through, is the impact of home playoff games. Last year, it was enormous. Double-digit wins by all the home teams in the first round of the playoff. What is the environment going to do to that pass rush, which led the country with 41 sacks? In particular, against a team in Alabama that has shown that there are some holes in their protection plan, and you can get after Simpson. So the aggressive nature that Brent wants to play on defense, and he will attack. Todd, he will get after you, man. And I assume after watching that Georgia tape, that it is just going to be like I mean, just every snap, I think Simpson's going to get some sort of pressure.
All right, Mensch. That was our big game breakdown. It was brought to you by our good friends at Scout Motors. Their all-new Scout Terra and Scout Traveler are all about combining iconic heritage with today's technology. For whatever the future holds, join the waitlist at scoutmotors.com. Mensch, I got to get you in one of these things, man.
I can't even dare to dream, man. I don't even want to dare to dream.
You got to dream. Be a dreamer, Mensch. Concept vehicles not available for sale. Features and performance specifications are preliminary and subject to change. Joining the waitlist does not guarantee purchase, although we're hoping. Visit scoutmotors.com for more details.
First of all, Merry Christmas, Joel. McShay always forgets to say, forgets his manners. So Merry Christmas. I hope you and your family are enjoying the season. But I wanted to ask you, unfortunately for us.
Yeah, draft Santa over here, Mr.
Yeah, man. I got to call you out.
You got the white beard and everything. Man.
Exactly.
Yes. So, unfortunately for us, you're not calling any of these playoff games. When you look at this first round, yeah. So, I mean, we're all missing out, I think. But if you're looking at this first round slate, I think there's probably two that you could toss out immediately. But out of the other two, which one would you want to call?
The one we're talking about, this Bama Oklahoma game. There's so much familiarity.
It's at night.
I mean, although I'm partial to noon kickoffs, guys, as you know. I mean, I think Kyle Field will be great, but there's something. Tell you, man, the Palace on the Prairie, when it gets going, it's really good. Not that Kyle Field isn't. Kyle Field is incredible as well, but like there's something about this. In particular, this is a culmination. Remember now, I think this place is going to be on fire. I think this is a culmination from that Sunday morning when Lincoln Riley woke up and left them until like this is their
building.
Yes. And this is their reemergence onto the playoff stage, which is where they believe they belong every single year.
Right.
It is their right as Sooner fans.
Yes.
And so, like, that place, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it right now. OU is going to be insane on Friday night.
That's what's great about the first round is having those home games. They should do in the second round too, I think.
Obviously. Like if A&M wins, Ohio State has to play them in Dallas.
In Dallas,
what are we doing? College football? What are we doing?
Second round home games, please. Let's get that fixed.
Gosh,
looking at the playoff field, kind of the total picture here. If you're a team that's down 4, I think we would agree on what quarterback you would want here. But you're down 4, 2 minutes left in the game. You get the ball in your own 25. What offense would you think is best suited to come through in that situation?
Oh, man.
Right?
I mean, candidly, we've only
it's not just the
players.
Great beard.
Players are street. Now I'm fighting myself right now.
This is what I ask myself these questions, and I start to think too.
Are you saying from a personnel standpoint, or a system standpoint, or
the
all
whole thing? Coordinators, personnel, quarterback, obviously, going to be a big part of that.
I am so sorry, Kurt Signetti. He's going to listen to this and text me. I apologize, but don't you have to take Ryan Day calling plays and Jeremiah Smith on the outside? Right?
I think you do. Yeah.
But to be totally fair, we haven't seen them. They haven't had to do that. And they got shut down in the last 40 minutes against Indiana. Meanwhile, Indiana, they score late in Autzen in the fourth quarter, drive down the field and score. They score late at Iowa, drive down the field and score in the last 2 minutes. And then the game I witnessed firsthand against Penn State. It's 2nd and 18, and they go right down the field with no timeouts. They score in the fourth quarter against Ohio State. So if you're asking me for a proven commodity, I would take Indiana.
Interesting. That's the two I debated with too. And I'm going to flip the script. Same situation. Which defense do you want?
Ohio State. That's not even.
Wow. I think Indiana's interesting to me there. But I hear you. I hear you.
It is, but the personnel. They have 4 first-round draft picks right down the middle. The last time we saw 4 right down the middle was Miami. 05, 06, 04?
Was 01 maybe?
It might have been 01. Early 2000s, Miami had 4 right down the middle. This team has them right down the middle. And by the way, their corner, Davison Igbinosun,
He's playing well.
he's playing well. I think he'll be a top 40 pick, guys.
Yeah, which I would not have expected coming into this year.
He still
Because
scares
of the
me.
penalties. Yeah, the penalties.
penalties.
Are such an
Penalties
issue,
still
yeah.
scare me, but he's been much better this year. That's
significantly better. Yeah, it's a fascinating field. And we did this the other day. I'm just gonna. Who cares? We can talk Texas A&M, Miami later if we want, or we don't have to. Last year we went into the playoffs, right? Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers, Nico Iamaleava, Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, Will Howard, Kevin Jennings, Riley Leonard, Maddox Madsen, like Curtis Rourke. This year, we've got, it's like, in no order, by the way, because I'll get yelled at. Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sayin, Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, John Mateer, Carson Beck, Gunnar Stockton, Trinidad Chambliss, like Marcel Reed. That to me, and then the fact that 8 of the top 12 defenses in the country are represented in this college football playoff. Like great defenses, great quarterbacks.
Yep.
I just think it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, and I would put Baron Morton in there.
Yeah,
just because I know you're like, I'm with you. I think that this has a chance to be a really great playoff, and I will tell you, I think it's fascinating. I think football goes in cycles and in arcs, and guys, remember, Bama of 2000, what was it, 9, 11, 12, it was like line it up, play insane defense, and run the rock, right? Like that's how you won the national championship, and recruit your butt off. And then all of a sudden, Nick takes that style of team and he's like, hold on, what is that over there? That's Deshaun Watson and Clemson, and all of a sudden they're having to win 45-42. And he's like, oh my gosh, and so all of a sudden it changes. And now all of a sudden it's like he brings in Lane Kiffin, he modernizes the offense. And so all of college football went towards, hey, you might have to win a shootout. And so we're going to go faster. Tempo became, really the norm across the entire sport. Ohio State was using it. Alabama was using it. Everybody was using it. And what's fascinating to me is that in the last 2 years, it has swung back. You look at the 2 best teams in the country, at least in the regular season, Indiana and Ohio State. Did you guys know they were the slowest tempos of anybody in the sport? They ran the fewest snaps of anybody in college football.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think it's a nod to the helmet communication, and also the idea of protecting your defense. So, like for instance, Texas Tech will have played, I think it's 190 more defensive snaps than Ohio State and Indiana played this year. That's crazy, right? We're seeing, Michigan wins the national title last year. Ohio State wins it, 2 years ago. Now Ohio State wins it. And it's coming back to defense, control the game, and situational football. And I think that's what ultimately is going to win out in this college football playoff. I think you have to be balanced. You better be a solid team everywhere if you're going to win this thing.
And you got to have an experienced quarterback, Muench, to operate this whole thing, which is why I went on a rant the other day about Carson Beck and his 81 snaps and Baron Morton 2,536.
So are you in on Beck? Let's get to that one. I really want to talk about that one. Are you in on Beck and Cristobal going on the road in a massive game and executing? That's the question.
I actually am.
Okay.
Because I think the other team is supremely talented. I think the quarterback is capable of the second half versus South Carolina. I think he's capable of some other. I don't trust Marcel Reed, if I'm being honest.
Sure.
It's like,
I mean, the last 3 games have not been great. They've had like 8 turnovers.
And I can still love the young man. I can think he's like unbelievable athlete. I can see all the positives, but now in this moment against that defense, and I do like the fact that Miami, they went through their rut. I don't like the comments from Carson Beck, but that doesn't mean that they weren't correct. and then talking to scouts in the league, being like who I thought would be scouts are the angriest bunch of human beings in the world.
They hate everything.
Everyone. They'll find something wrong with everyone and multiple things.
It's true.
But to hear them going through the building and being like, and me being like, oh, here we go. I'm asking about Carson Beck and kind of duck, and a couple different scouts be like, you know what? He wasn't wrong. And I think he's trying to, and so we have seen maturity in him.
Okay.
And so I don't love the fact that they're entering this playoff without a great trusted run game.
Yep.
I do like that they're getting a little healthier wide receiver. I like their defense a lot. I actually, gun to head, I'm taking Miami to go win at Kyle Field. Yeah.
I like Miami. I like Miami to win that game too, but I won't dance around it like McShay. I am terrified. I mean, I am terrified that Cristobal is going to make a decision that makes me look like we should have all known better. And Beck has that bad game. It is.
But Reed's got that in his bag too. Like the
absolutely.
bad game. Don't you? This is what I think. It comes down to whichever quarterback can be clean. And I'm not even saying they have to play great. Just clean, because I think both defenses are good. They both rush the passer well. A&M does it a little bit better. A&M is a little bit more balanced on offense. They can run it, I think, more efficiently, which should help Reed be in a position where he's not in a precarious spot having to throw the football the entire day. That's my fear for Miami, is that if they're unable to run the football, because there's been games this year where they're well under 3.5 yards per carry. Well, if that happens, now it's just a Beck game on the road in Kyle Field. And that's terrifying against that pass rush. Cassius Howell is a man.
Oh, my God. I tell
you, man. Oh,
yeah.
Watching him get off the ball. And so I think about the crowd noise, the get off. That would be problematic, So Miami better control this game. I think that if they don't get a lead early, it could get away from them, because to me, A&M feels like a momentum team. They either have it all or they don't at all, And we saw that in the South Carolina game. We saw it in the Texas game. And even in the Notre Dame game a little bit. Like, there were series where they didn't have anything, and then there's series where like Notre Dame can't stop them at all. I think it's going to be a fascinating game, but it comes down to the quarterback making mistakes or not making mistakes. Whoever can play clean. I don't think the quarterback has to be great in this game, to be honest with you. Just has to play clean.
I'm going to rip through. We're a FanDuel show here, and I'm not going to ask you to make any bets. I'm not doing that. But Ohio State and Indiana are plus 195, and for Ohio State, Indiana's plus 310. Georgia's plus 600. So those are the three favorites to win the whole thing. If you had to pick one of everyone else is plus 850, and it dips down when you start with A&M and beyond, plus 1900. No chance, right?
Okay.
If you had to pick a program not named Ohio State, Indiana, or Georgia, who you think could make a run and surprise even FanDuel, which program would it be?
Oregon.
Yes.
Watch out for Oregon.
Yes.
I know that they've got some youth, and I know they've got a really difficult matchup in round 2 against Texas Tech. I totally understand that. But it's just eerily quiet enough in Eugene right now, where I'm like, okay.
It is.
You know what I mean? And I keep coming back to, what no one's talking about? That last year they saw it, and it happened to them. They have a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
They went undefeated. They won the Big Ten. They get to the Rose Bowl, and then here's number 4 racing down the field the entire first half, and that happened to them. And I think ever since that day, they've been waiting for this day, this week, and the following. There's something about this team. I think that they run it really well. the back half of the year, guys, they've been I think the best rushing team on film in the country. The stats will tell you whatever it is over the course of the
backfield.
whole season.
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
But in the second half of the year, they've been the best rushing team in the country, and it's allowed Dante Moore to become a better player. They've had to do that because they've been banged up at wide receiver. The only concern that I have is they're really young in the secondary. And if they have to go up against an Ohio State at some point, or if Morton gets going with Texas Tech, or if Mendoza gets going with Surratt, that could be a little bit problematic for them. But of those teams outside of those top three that you mentioned, I think it's Oregon. I would be very leery of how quiet it is out of Eugene, Oregon right now.
I like that.
Do you worry at all about these coordinators leaving? I mean, obviously Oregon's losing both, and Hartline leaving Ohio State, I think, is a little easier to understand with Day calling plays.
Yeah, I'm less concerned with Ohio State because Day's superpower is calling plays. And he probably was more involved than we even know, this year as Brian was calling plays. In fact, I know he was. The Oregon one is much more difficult because Will and Tosh were empowered to run the entire unit. Right. And so losing those guys is I don't think this week it's going to hurt them, not just because of their opponent with JMU going up there, but because they've got a break and the portal is a ways away. My fear for Oregon would be, once they get to that second round and maybe beyond, when those coaches are trying to navigate an open transfer portal and prepare for a playoff game, that's when it becomes problematic just because of time. You just don't have enough time to do both, hire staff, do all the things that you need to do at your future job. Maybe he would cut Tosh, not loose, but let him have some rope because Dan can handle defense. But then what happens on the offensive side, right? So
exactly.
The harder one is Will and what would happen on the offensive side.
It's going to be a fun run. And yes, we're going to miss you calling a playoff game. We need to get that rectified.
Man, I would love that. That would be awesome.
Well, something tells me we'll find a way at some point. But
someday
we appreciate you coming on with us. It's been a fun season. It always is.
Yeah.
But this one feels like we're actually amping up for a wild ride in the playoff, and it's great to break it down with you. So, Merry Christmas to you, Joel.
Have you guys given your pick yet for have you done a bracket or? I don't want to make you do that.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
So I would be super fascinated. Who do you like in the entire thing?
Who'd you go with, Todd?
Mensch. I went with
took
Georgia.
Oregon.
There you go. Oh.
Mensch, you took Oregon. Just outright.
I did. Yeah.
Because of the longer odds, or you just
for
like
some of the same reasons that you're saying.
No odds in this. We just had to pick the bracket.
No odds involved.
This is straight up.
And Todd, who'd you say?
I said Georgia.
I don't hate that either. Man, dude, that Bama. I don't know if Bama was just distracted or what, but that wasn't close.
I've seen them defensively get incrementally better each and every week. And Gunnar Stockton, I don't want to say he doesn't continue. He surprised me early in the season, but just the stability there. I wonder about Ohio State. Ohio State's the most talented and certainly can do it.
I worry about their offensive line. I worry about their offensive line a little bit, and that reared its head in the short yardage and the red zone. But what makes me nervous for everyone else is that now Ryan got to go and fix that. And it's kind of like losing to Michigan before last year. It's like, well, what are they going to come out with now? Because if that was their only weakness, and then I would take Ohio State, guys, because I just think that defense, it's the best defense I've covered. I didn't get to cover in person the 21 Georgia defense or the 11 Bama defense. So in person, it's the best defense that I've covered and the smartest defense that I've covered.
It is wild, man, to think you lose 8 starters from a year ago. You bring in a new coordinator. So it's not like a lot of these guys were growing up in this system. And to see from the jump against Texas, how quickly these new faces as starters, 8 of them, were all in one unison. I don't know. It's been special to watch the entire year, and they have not let down.
They won a national championship with the eventual first pick in the draft on the bench in Arvell Reese. That's wild.
It doesn't make sense.
There's no other way of
I
saying
don't know if he'll be the
it's
first
true.
pick, but I would say he's the first non-quarterback taken. You know, the
Yes.
quarterback is always a need thing. Like, that dude is unreal on film. Unreal.
Different planet. Yeah.
Totally
And-
different
and,
planet.
and by the way, the second or third best non-quarterback prospect might be the safety behind him. In town.
Whoever
So,
just kind of like hasn't
yeah.
talked about much this year.
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
That's right. And oh, by the way, the 15th pick in the draft is the nose tackle. So like,
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah. All right.
This
been
second
fun.
round, by the way, with the seating fix, with them fixing the seating, the second round is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it should. I hope so. I hope so.
All right, brother. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you
Christmas.
guys.
I saved my pleasantries for the end.
Yeah, you
done.
were going to say it.
Well done. Great to see you boys.
See you soon. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.